Hi, my name is Chris Skoletsky, and I am the owner of KiddyKeys. And I would like to talk to you a little bit today about something that's often broached with me by teachers, piano teachers, music teachers that want to reach the younger ages, young learners. And by that, I would say 3, 4, 5, and 6 year olds that either are looking for a music experience, but certainly one centered around the piano. So most often, it's piano teachers who are saying, just how can I teach those young ages? And I thought I would share some of the tools that exist that really lay that foundation, give you the groundwork so that you're not reinventing the wheel. It's laid out in front of you and you're free to just teach those lessons, which helps you to reach a new segment to perhaps build your studio numbers, to give you some daytime teaching options. And parents are certainly looking for a piano experience for their young children. Again, whether they're 3 all the way through 6 year olds. So the tools that I'm going to be using today in my conversation with you are going to be KiddyKeys as well as Roadtrip Outdoor Adventure, which is a method that I published along with Jennifer Eklund of Piano Pronto. Um, and to marry those two together, I wrote what I call the KiddyKeys Plus lesson plans. So, what we're going to be doing is looking at those lesson plans, and they're a free resource that even if you're not going to use KiddyKeys or Roadtrip, you're welcome to have those lesson plans. Maybe you'll find some use in them, if nothing else, seeing how a lesson can lay out. I'll show you where they're available. We call it the KiddyKeys Kitchen. It's full of lots of goodness to help you cook up great teaching lessons, and then as well as part of the KiddyKeys resources and Roadtrip as well. So we're going to get started with the first part, which will be showing you those KiddyKeys and KiddyKeys Plus lesson plans. All right, so to find your KiddyKeys Plus lesson plans, which again are a free resource for you, and marrying KiddyKeys along with Roadtrip Outdoor Adventure, you'd navigate to the KiddyKeys website, kiddykeys.com. Once you've landed there, come over to the little head, and if you already have registered for your KiddyKeys account, you would simply click Login. If not, you're going to want to click on Register, and then you're going to want to sign up for your account first, and then it will be available for you. So we're going to log in under my account, and you'll be able to see what the KiddyKeys kitchen looks like. And I'm going to say no thanks to that. And up here at the top of the screen, there's the kitchen. I'm going to click on that, and my kitchen opens up. And when you have your kitchen account and you're registered and you haven't made perhaps purchases yet, you will see some of these options. You won't see all of them. There are other freebies in the kitchen for you as well. So don't be surprised if you see more folders well, you won't see more than this, but don't be surprised if you see more than just 1 or 2 folders. So what we want to look at today is lesson plans. And if you have registered for account, you will see the lesson plans. And then I'm going to click on KiddyKeys Plus. And here they are all listed. And I can either look at all the pages or I can look at them one at a time. So I'm going to start by clicking on all of them, and I'm going to open them in the viewer, which is a nice option for seeing your lesson plans online. But there also was the option there to print them. And then again, in my viewer, I want to go. These are all the different options for lesson plans that exist. And if I again click on the KiddyKeys Plus lesson guide, all pages, there they are. And I'm going to click that I want to view that now. So once this opens, I will have all the pages there. And you can see that what I have here is in front of me. This is going to be Outdoor Adventure, and this is the guide that's going to would explain how what's everything that's in here. So again, KiddyKeys Plus is marrying KiddyKeys and Roadtrip Outdoor Adventure. It talks about the different applications that could be used to do this. KiddyKeys in tandem with Roadtrip Outdoor Adventure, either private or a semi-private lesson. It can be as an intro to piano class or lessons, either 30-minute or 1 hour. And also as an intro to piano camp, 5 days, 1 hour. So a really nice piano immersion for young children. And again, the class formats would be partner or small group. 2 or more students is how I have typically done this. A hybrid lesson with two students it's part KiddyKeys, part piano lesson. which is more of what we're going to be talking about today, or private piano lessons, road trip focused, and KiddyKeys as a supplement. So within the framework of KiddyKeys Plus, you have three different options. So you can really tailor this to the child that's sitting in front of you, and depending on what they need. And so I was just trying to see if I could make this bigger for you, and I can't. I'm going the wrong direction. There we go. I guess that's as big as I can go. So again, three different ways. It can be road trip focused. KiddyKeys is a supplement, so more of a piano lesson with the exploration and the storybooks and games to help that lesson along. The hybrid would be part KiddyKeys, part piano lesson with road trip, and then private would be totally road trip focused and KiddyKeys supplement. At the end of the day, this is geared towards students who are young or not, 3, 4, 5, 6, some 7-year-olds that want a piano lesson experience, and this is a way to developmentally tailor it for them so they're still getting that piano experience with road trip, but you've got those music exploration materials in KiddyKeys to make a full and complete lesson for them. All right. So first, we're going to look at lesson number 1, Road Trip Outdoor Adventure, and we will be looking at that book as part of this. But I wanted to show you what the lesson plans look like first. So Road Trip Outdoor Adventure, lesson number 1. The song is titled "Go Go Go," and it starts by saying for off the bench activity, because generally with younger children, they need to wiggle. If you shake out their wiggles, they're going to be much more receptive to what we're going to do on the bench. So I personally like to start off the bench. Now what's listed here are optional activities or applications and tools that you can use to introduce lesson number 1, Go Go Go, for a child that needs to start off the bench. So you would use KiddyKeys lesson number 5 from KiddyKeys lesson level 1. So that's why it says KKL1, level 1. It's a lesson about CDE by the Two Black Keys, as well as lesson 6 of KiddyKeys level 1, which teaches FGAB. And that will work in tandem with Road Trip Outdoor Adventure Teacher Guide, the keyboard exploration section. And again, I'm going to show you that book so you'll see where everything is. You would incorporate the KiddyKeys cloth staffs, chips, and keyboards and alphabet letters if you have those things. And you would also incorporate KiddyKeys lesson 11, KiddyKeys level 2, stepping right up to G, which is the letters C, D, E, F, and G, as well as lesson 10, KiddyKeys level 1, which is the quarter note. Now, that was a lot of lessons, wasn't it? I mentioned 4 different lessons. You can use one of them, you could use 2 of them, 3 of them, or 4 of them. It depends where your student wants to go. But basically, lesson 5 of level 1 is all about CDE. So they have a total lesson foundation away from the piano, or it can be done partially at the piano or keyboard. That's all about CDE. If the child is ready, you could also do level 1, F, G, A, and B. If you feel like they need it or are ready for it, KiddyKeys level 2 is all about step right up to G, C, D, E, F, and G. And then as well, KiddyKeys lesson number level 1, lesson 10, is the quarter note, depending on how in-depth you want to go to prep them. So it's basically telling you in KiddyKeys Plus, here's what you're going to want to pull out or take a look at to prepare for this lesson. There's also improv tracks that are included with the lesson plans. And for this particular lesson, for song number 1, Go Go Go, it's suggesting lesson track number 47 through 54, because those are the improv tracks for letters C, D, E, F, and G. And when we look at that song shortly in the Road Trip Outdoor Adventure book, you're going to see that it includes C, D, E, F, and G. That's why we incorporated the lesson plans above. Uses quarter notes. That's why we had the quarter note lesson. And then it's why we also included step right up to G with the C, D, E, F, and G. Now, I will include that with those packages come worksheets. So for a child that needs more of a visual and a physical completion away from the piano, there are worksheets that accompany these lesson plans that, again, can help lay that foundation. So the improv tracks are great because they could go over to the keyboard then, and you could use that as introduction of technique for good arm weight, good wrist movement, hand position, which is something you'll talk about for quite a while, and of course development of an inner beat or note and key direction. So what I would personally do is put on the first track, that's the improvisation for C. And again, this is included with the KiddyKeys lesson, so you have everything that you need there, and have them improvise. Find the C by the two black keys and have them improvise along with the backing track, which is in the key of C. You have two options. You have a 3/4 time and you have a 4/4. So it's a good opportunity to explore C on the piano. Find a high C, find a low C. The same thing with D, E, F, and G. Have them improvise on each of those keys. Now, do they have to do that? Absolutely not. With each of these activities and suggestions, you should cull and include what that student needs. There may be a scenario where you have a student who's ready to go right on the piano and learn go, go, go. And maybe then, as part of the second part of the lesson, the secondary experience is now here are some worksheets that we're going to complete. Here is a song that we're going to sing. You may pull out some alphabet letters you have, or another staff tool that you have, and you can do that as well. Those are all, depending on the resources and the tools that you have in your studio, in your toolbox. The other thing that's so important is technique building. So I really like the Improv Tracks for that. It's a great way to explore the keyboard without the framework of any particular rhythm assignment. So as listening and movement then would follow, again, if the order you took it, there's all the flexibility in the world to adjust as you need. Listening and movement, listening activities and gross motor movements in Road Trip Outdoor Adventure, Go, Go, Go. I would include the backing tracks for that. Backing track for song number 1. Put it on. Let them march. Let them dance. Let them hop. Let them jump and move. It will be a great way for them, if you put it on with the vocal version, the lyrics, that they can hear the song, become familiar with it. Again, they're working on pulse. Anything they do with gross movement will reap benefits at the piano for their small movements, because small movements begin with big movements. So I like to put on the backing track for Go, Go, Go so that they can hear it. I like to have them hear the singing. We'll talk about the words, the lyrics that go with it, so that they can learn to sing along with it, and that helps them to internalize the piece. This could all easily be done in preparation, again, before you go to the piano, or as following up. We've been at the piano, now we're going to do this activity. And then the other opportunity for this is to shake out their wiggles prior to being on the bench, if you use it in this order. I would follow that up by moving on the bench if I was starting with the KiddyKeys first, piano lesson second, on with Road Trip. So incorporate the Outdoor Adventure Teacher Guide. You won't necessarily complete all the areas, those sections in the teacher guide. Rather, use them to round out the lesson prep prior to playing. And those options would include rules of the road. They would complete page 3 of the student book. I will show you that shortly. The keyboard exploration section and time to play, as well as playing the teacher duet if they're ready for that, playing together with someone. For my youngest students, that often seems to take a little bit of time before they can do collaborative playing. That's where the Road Trip Super soundtrack comes in, because you can play the student part with the student and have them playing with the backing track, which works really nicely for young students. So you would choose one of the options available with the teacher duet. In Road Trip Outdoor Adventure, there's a very simplified version so that you are keeping a pulse and playing with them, but giving them ample room to work through the piece at their own pace. Or you could use the backing track, as I said, while you play the student part along with your student. Additional class and lesson notes, I would include the KiddyKeys song number 1, as well as a finger play and gross motor verses of your choice. And those are all included in song tracks, so you won't have to go looking for music. It's all there for you. And your students are young and they're still developing these skills, which is really important to do that. There's work with left hand and right hand and each finger number, and it takes some children longer than others to learn and remember their left hand and right hand, and that's okay. They're all developmentally different. They're not expected, nor should they be expected, to be the same. And don't underestimate the value of gross motor movement in all lessons and class types. Young children need to move, and there are terrific gains to be made from dancing, hopping, which I see now says hoping, I hope you hop and marching along with the KiddyKeys backing tracks and Roadtrip Super soundtrack. So that's an entire KiddyKeys Plus lesson plan, and you can see how it lays out all the options, the tools that you can use, what you need to pull. So let's say you've got a 4-year-old coming for your lesson. It's their first lesson. What do I want to do? I want to have options available in case I need to change direction. Here they are. Here are your options between here and here, that whether you're doing a 30-minute lesson, a 45-minute lesson, or even abbreviated 20-minute lesson, you can, on that spot, know what that child needs that week. Do they need some movement? Do they need some review? And pull it out from the materials that you have at your fingertips. You'll see on the second page here that this is KiddyKeys lesson, our KiddyKeys Plus Outdoor Adventure Lesson 2, which is the Outdoor Adventure song. It lays out all the opportunities at the time, the things that you'll need. You're going to need, I should backtrack, here's lesson number 1. So you would need the level 1 curriculum, which is KKL1, the level 2 curriculum, which is KKL2, the Outdoor Adventure Teacher Guide, and the Outdoor Adventure Super soundtrack. This is in addition to your student needing the road trip student book, so they've got the music and the theory work that goes in there. So KiddyKeys Plus lesson number 2, again, you need the KiddyKeys lesson plans, backing tracks, and teaching materials that will be housed in your kitchen. The Outdoor Adventure Teacher Guide, the Outdoor Adventure Student Book, and the Outdoor Adventure Students Super soundtrack. The lesson plans are always laid out the same. This, again, like with any lesson plan, is not meant to go in this order. This is just meant to say, here are the tools. So for this lesson, Outdoor Adventure Song, it's suggesting lesson 1 of KiddyKeys Level 1, which is all about high and low sounds, in tandem with the teacher guide from Roadtrip Outdoor Adventure. And then KiddyKeys Level 1, Lesson 1 of the staff, and that's 15, and Lesson 19 of Level 1, which is the F Clef, which incorporates the letter F and F, the bass clef F symbol, if you have that available and want to include that. Improvisation tracks, also again great for technique building, development of inner beat and note key location, listen activities, and then on the bench, where to go. So as you screw through each of these and clicking the arrow, you'll see that it takes you through each of the lessons, lesson numbers at the top. Once we are familiar with the plan, we took off all that prep, and then there's more of a lesson development, so it doesn't talk so much about the formats for class. We get right into the lesson. So lesson 7, lesson 8, lesson 9, 10, 11, and 12. The song titles are there for you. Lesson 13, A is for Ant, 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18. There are 18 songs in the Road Trip Outdoor Adventure book. So these are the KiddyKeys Plus plans, which again are free in your kitchen. You have them available to use at your discretion whenever you'd like. I'm going to exit the viewer, and that will take us back to the kitchen, which is right here. I'll make that a little bit bigger for us to see. And if you end up purchasing KiddyKeys plans, your songs are in the audio player. So they're all housed here for you in order. The lyrics are with the song, and there is also videos made for them for demo purposes, the ones that have actions. So this is all included with the lesson plans. So here are the songs. Here are those improvisation tracks that we talked about, all laid out for you, and gross motor activities, as well as fine motor skills. So each of these are teaching songs. So again, that's the kitchen, and those are your audio tracks, which are included with lesson plans. The free lesson plans are in the lesson plan folder under KiddyKeys Plus, which I just showed you a little while ago. We'll go back to plans. Plus, there are also some other freebie treats that would be in your utensils department. If you have previously purchased KiddyKeys music, you have that in your downloads folder. So that's the kitchen. That's what it looks like. Here is the link up at the top, and to access your kitchen, you have to be sure that you have an account first. If not, when you click on the little head here, you're going to register, and then once you would be registered, you'll have your kitchen. You'll either be logged in or you'll need to log in at that point. So you're going to want to log out of the kitchen. So that's the KiddyKeys Plus plans. That's where you'd find them, and I hope you find some wonderful uses for them in your studio. So let's talk a little bit about Road Trip Outdoor Adventure. It's a little bit different, and Jennifer Eklund and I did that on purpose. we wanted to make sure that the student pages in the student book were clear and clean and were just about the music and the theory that the child was learning. This is really a keepsake book for them because the image on the cover of the road trip to the outdoor adventure is all colorable. This is a special material so that makes it able for them to personalize. And as the book starts off, oh, there's even a place on the cover with a postcard where they can put their name and their age. And they can, as the book starts, they're going to say and fill in their favorite things to take when they're packing, who's going with you, drawing a picture of their car, and a road trip final checklist, which includes pencils and crayons and hiking boots and fishing rod and lure and rainy day gear, and of course their favorite piano book, which we hope is Road Trip Outdoor Adventure. So it's really very much about personalizing their experience. And look at the first pages here. So they're very clean. There is no teaching on these pages. This is all about the student and what they're using. So I apologize if this appears backwards. This is the teaching page, and every lesson starts with a verse. I'm ready to go. Let's hop in the car. I'll learn while I play. I'm a road trip rock star. I'm ready for fun. So let's get there fast. Sit down, buckle up, and please step on the gas. And if you have the super soundtrack, you'll hear our wonderful, wonderful vocalist, Jenny Thiel, do those recordings for us. So the rules of the road are all about learning their left hand, right hand, and identifying those, and their finger numbers. So we have a right hand and a left hand, and a 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now you're going to notice that only finger number 2 has been labeled. That's because they're only going to use finger number 2 of their left hand and right hand. So we focused on that. We want them to trace that number. That's great fine motor skills. So we're focused on the left and the right hand, although they're going to be using only their right hand in the song, but it's good to offer the other hand. They're going to be talking about it shortly, and finger number 2. So they could easily complete that, and that was mentioned in the KiddyKeys PLUS plans. And then here's the song. So if we wanted to start right off with the song, instead of doing the prep work, there's a keyboard example at the top that shows the C, D, E, F, and G with finger number 2. And this song is on C, D, E, F, and G. So the first line is entirely about C. Chord notes from that KiddyKeys Plus plan that we talked about. They may have learned, if you decided to include that worksheet or talk about it or sing about it, there's a note song that includes that. We would have them do that, playing those C's on the piano. If you did the improvisation activity, they have found C. Maybe you asked them to play some chord notes as part of their improv, so they'll have done it. Now, I would personally walk this through, and we're going to play this on C. If you didn't use the backing track yet for the singing, we talked about that as a movement activity. I would talk my way, almost sing my way through this, and maybe clapping, giving them some large activity, tapping their legs. On the road, don't go slow, get there fast, go, go, go. Now, for a child's purposes, we repeated those lyrics, every single line, so that they didn't have to think about the words. They could think about the rhythm and the note. The second line, 2, is on D. There is a small note prompt in the middle of the note. On the road, don't go slow, get there fast, go, go, go. So that is the first song, which we saw referenced in the KiddyKeys Plus lesson number 1. And you're going to see that the layout is always the same. Here's the outdoor adventure song. Now we've got the left hand and the right hand, and we've labeled all of the finger numbers. And we've got a whole note, because in lesson number 2, outdoor adventure is on the whole note. Now you might look at this and go, the bass clef. Don't normally talk about the bass clef so soon with the little ones. The thing is, little ones aren't so put off by different ideas, new concept. You say it's a bass clef, they're going to take your word for it. It's bass clef. You can say it's low sounds. You can show them where it is on the piano. That's all good. You're going to be repeating it. This is review. This is about exploration. There are 88 keys on the piano. So let's find this A, and it's down in the bass clef. Now, the KiddyKeys Plus plans will focus on F, G, A, and B. On the whole note, it's going to have them improvising on A. So if you've started with KiddyKeys off the bench, you've done all that for giving them a framework, you've laid a foundation for what's going to happen here at the piano. If you offer a simple explanation, this is a bass clef sign. You can call it an F clef. Used to be an F. That's for low sounds on the piano. If you're using the KiddyKeys material, we've got a storybook that's all about the bass clef that really brings home that idea of that F line being right there. So all those tools are available in a place for you to really craft a personalized lesson for that young learner in your studio. Again, 3 to 6, even some 7 and 8-year-olds love the road trip books. So it is not preschool, it is not early childhood, it's any young learner. There's nothing babyish about this book, but it's easily adapted to work for those young learners. And then as I leaf through here, lesson number 3 is called Follow the Map. And so our activity is for them to start in the map, and they're going to first go past a half note B, and then there's going to be a quarter note in an A, and a whole note that's a G, and then a repeat sign. And if you look at the song, it starts with a half note B, a quarter note A, and a whole note G, and there's a repeat sign at the end. So we bring home that idea of moving through and following that map. The map is the music. So every song looks like this. And on the Piano Pronto site, you can look through the pages because we, of course, want teachers to know exactly what they're getting and what they have for their students. But this is the layout. So you can see how this married to KiddyKeys Plus. Each of the KiddyKeys lesson plans married to, by number, the name and the lesson, and you would follow through. So this is just entirely a book that's for students, geared towards students. There's no teaching in this book. It's nice and clean, and it becomes a wonderful student keepsake. Okay, so now I'd like to take you through the Road Trip Outdoor Adventure Teacher Guidebook. And one of the unique things about Road Trip is that there is a special student book that this is where the student is working from. There's a little bit of theory in there and there's song, and the pages are nice and clean. Nothing extra in there except for what the student needs as part of their lesson. So this becomes that important memory book for the student, something parents like to save. We've kept the teaching separate in what we call the teacher guidebook. This is the teacher guidebook and the duets. And the duets are fabulous. They're written by Jennifer Eklund of Piano Pronto. And Road Trip Outdoor Adventure is, again, published through Piano Pronto Publishing. And you can take a look at it inside everything there. It was really important, and it's very important to Jennifer that consumers and teachers like you see what they're getting and purchasing. So what we did, instead of putting small little teacher notes in the student book, is we wrote an entire teacher guidebook, if you will, to go along with those lessons. It looks like the student book, so you know it marries together. And in the beginning, there's some how to use the guidebook, because we understand that this is a little bit different. It's not quite the traditional layout for lesson books, but taking some time to reviewing how to use the guidebook and off-bench activities, and then maximizing your student's experience will help you to get familiar with this different format. For me personally, for children, all children, whether they have special needs or not, we want this to be their personal experience, and we also wanted to provide a lot more teaching notes than can traditionally be fit on a student page, right? We don't want the distraction of that. When I show you the duets in a little bit, they are not a small line of duet music at the top. It's full developed duets that teachers like you love to play as well. So this is lesson number 1, and I had mentioned when we were looking at KiddyKeys Plus specific areas in the lesson plans that were very relevant to marrying to the KiddyKeys lesson plans. So if we look at lesson number 1, and it says lesson number 1, go, 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 which marries to the student book, go, 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 and it marries to KiddyKeys Plus plan number 1, which is called go, go, go. And in the beginning, this is all for you. This is teaching notes that will, just like a teacher in a classroom would have a lesson plan, you're going to have a lesson plan to the Road Trip Outdoor lesson, and again, it marries to KiddyKeys Plus. So the lesson exposition is what's taught in this particular lesson. In this one, it includes touch of the keys, high and low sounds, finger number 2, right hand and left hand, a final bar line, quarter note, and notes C, D, E, F, and G. And earlier when I showed you the kitchen, I showed you those lesson plans. So you'll have additional worksheets. Let's say you want more than the left hand and the right hand with the finger number 2 in the lesson plan. Well, you have all of that available for you in KiddyKeys. The lesson development, talks about what we're going to do today. We're going to start with our musical road trip together. So that's our development, introducing touch, high and low, and it's very specific. Do one, do two. Rules of the road are about see the little pencil symbol in the student book. There's a little pencil symbol there so that you know that it marries to the pencil, a little bit of a workbook activity. The keyboard exploration, there's a little sunglass symbol in the student book. Again, so you're saying, okay, I'm working in through this section that marries to the sunglass section of the lesson in the student's book. And time to play would be a breakdown of how you would take a step-by-step process through working through them playing that song, in addition to some ad hoc activities. So when we were looking at KiddyKeys Plus, there were specific sections of this for lesson 1 that married to it. So again, the beauty of it is you will have at your fingertips something that gives you that ability to move to music experience and the exploration of the piano, or the direction if they're ready to move forward with chord notes on the staff. But what you're able to offer a parent with this is a piano lesson for their child. They're looking for you. If they're looking for a piano lesson, you can provide that. There's no need to wait until they perhaps get to a book that you're more accustomed to using. Maybe you've been looking for a while for something that allows you to reach down those ages. I often see teachers posting and saying, well, what do I do with them? How do I do that? Again, with KiddyKeys Plus and the KiddyKeys materials and Road Trip Outdoor Adventure, you're going to have all of that. So in this teacher guidebook, there's a complete lesson plan for every single Road Trip Outdoor Adventure song, and what I think are the world's best duets for teachers to be happy playing along their students too. So Go, 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 just like all the songs, has a very basic duet that goes along with it. And that's fantastic to play along with your students. The majority of it is pulse keeping, and you're free to scale it back, dial it back. Don't play with them. I suggested in an earlier video, our earlier segment of this video, that you play the student part along with them and then play the backing track so that they can hear that pulse. And again, maybe what they do is they dance while you're playing the teacher duet. This is all about putting the music in their ears and giving them the opportunity to take it, internalize it, develop that beat while we marry that to their piano experience. So every lesson is laid out the same. There's an outdoor adventure lesson plan. This is song number 2, all laid out the same way. Again, keeping in mind those symbols marry to the student book so you'll know exactly what goes along. Will you have to do a little bit of studying beforehand? Probably, if this is new to you, because at the end of the day, this is different. We don't necessarily have full lesson plans for teaching piano. We have teaching notes and we get comfortable and familiar with those. But we just, again, wanted to give you more information. So that's at the core of Road Trip, what we're all about with that. And the lesson plans follow the same order then as the student book, and which we took a little bit of a look at. So this is the Outdoor Adventure Guidebook, which marries to the Road Trip Outdoor Adventure student book. So with KiddyKeys Plus, which we looked at in the kitchen, it described the different levels and the lesson plans that went along with each of the Road Trip Outdoor Adventures song, again, to create an effective lesson for 3s through 6-year-olds, some 7-year-olds, and even some 8-year-olds, really. There's nothing babyish or young. It's just developmentally appropriate and fun music that allows them the time to grow at the piano and lay a good foundation for all of their future lessons as well. So a big part of each of those lesson plans was the level 1 and the level 2 curriculum. So this is KiddyKeys level 1. I have it printed in a binder, and then level 2 is red, and I just happen to have this also printed and put in a binder. And I want to show you what they look like so that you can see. I could also have shown you these in the viewer. They were there as well for you to see. So this is the level 1, and there are several big components to it. There are 30 lesson plans, and there are over 40 worksheets with level 1, and then that full audio track list of all of the songs that you could use as teaching songs. There's a note value song, there's a song about high and low, C, D, E, and F, G, A, B. So every teaching song, and those are included in the lesson plans. And then a few other teaching aids that you may find helpful for your studio, like brag tags or what we did in class or certificates to reward your students. And then some training videos, also some teaching tip videos. I would never want any teacher to feel like they didn't have the resources to implement tools. So that's all part of each of these lesson plan packages. So this is level 1. And this is what the lesson plans look like. And these are in the kitchen. So if you end up purchasing level 1, you would find these lesson plans. They look like this. And they're always laid out in the same order. But teaching is teaching. You're not going to have the same children. You won't have the same group of children. You may have the same group, but no two groups are the same. No two students are the same. So you'll want to vary this. So I think that it specifically mentioned C, D, and E. So I'm going to scoot over here. Actually, I remember distinctly lesson number 10. And that was in the first lesson for Go, Go, Go. And I talked about how you could include lesson number 10. And that was all about the coordinate. I'm almost there. Okay, lesson 10 is all about the coordinate. Takes you top to the bottom of things and activities that you can do to explore away from the bench, include on the bench. Mentions those improvisation tracks. It talks about the coordinate storybook that KiddyKeys publishes, and it's available for you. We're playing a matching game with the KiddyKeys cards. Are all about note values. Or you can use the tools that you have in your studio. But these lesson plans are a great resource because it gives you all the information and includes those songs and includes worksheets. And on the back side of every lesson plan, there are always 4 squares. What to do to get ready, classroom aids, what you would need to have available to teach it, and then the activity sheets that go with. And this one's a little harder to see because these are dots. We have them tracing the coordinates, and then there's a little note search picture. So each of these lesson plans is laid out the same, and this is the half note, and then the quarter note, half note, quarter note, dotted half. The best place to find out all the different resources and what's included is on our website. There is a link on there that shows every single concept that's taught in every single of the lessons. So this is 30 lessons, and they have an upward trajectory to keep reviewing and expounding on what they've been learning. So I just flipped to the back tab, and these are the worksheets that are included. And I know a lot of teachers send these home with students. Sometimes they email them to use them at home. And with KiddyKeys, this is a studio license. So you'll be able to print as many of these as you want. So the first lesson is high and low, so you can see the worksheet on there. So I'm going to scoot ahead. So the second lesson is dynamics. And the third lesson is all about the right hand and the left hand and the finger numbers. I'm scooting to lesson number 10, so you can see those. Lesson 4 is all about hand position. We call that bubble fingers, and a review of finger numbers. Lesson number 5, which was also mentioned in lesson 1 of KiddyKeys Plus, was the CDE, 2 black keys. So you can see that this is finding those groups of 2 black keys and identifying C, D, and E. We want to give them lots of options. And again, for each of these concepts, there's a storybook. We always have a music storybook that goes along with it with rhyming verse to, again, give them a good visual. Something for every young child, for wherever they are developmentally. Lesson number 6 is the 3 black keys and FGAB. 7 is the entire music alphabet. Again, I'm working up to 10 to show you the chord note. 8 is learning lento. 9 is learning allegro. Now you're thinking these pictures are identical. That's because speed is subjective to a child. So some might think the ant moves slowly, but in reality, those ants' legs are moving very quickly, even though they're small. So we give them that freedom to explore and form their own subjective opinions. So here is 10. There were 2 worksheets, and maybe you can see a little bit better here. The dots that you trace the quarter note, and then they fill in the note head with the number 1. And the second part is that note search. We want them to find the chord notes in this picture. So that's what's in level 1. Again, there's 30 lessons in here, and these marry so nicely to Road Trip Outdoor Adventure to really craft a tailored lesson plan so you can confidently take a 3-year-old, 3.5-year-old, 4-year-old. They could start at any point when they're ready and when the parent is ready. Whether you have parental involvement or not, you can send home the worksheets and say, please complete this at home as part of this. This is what we did in the song as part of the song and what they're learning with that. So those are all really terrific tools to round out a KiddyKeys Plus lesson. KiddyKeys, again, Plus specifically mentions level 1, the level 2 curriculum, which I showed you in red, the teacher's guidebook for road trip outdoor adventure, and how to include that to marry with the student book for road trip. So the KiddyKeys Plus plans are free in the KiddyKeys kitchen. These others are purchases. They're meant to make your life easy. Again, I'm all about not reinventing the wheel. These are things that I did for years. Other teachers use them successfully. And again, we hear teachers all the time saying, I want to teach 4-year-olds. I had somebody ask me, what should I do? Here are the tools. I'm going to lay it all out for you. It's all in front of you. You have what you need, and you'll be able to tailor that, because I feel really strongly there is no one size fits all for a little person. No, I have never seen 2 identical 3-year-olds. Okay, twins. I'm not talking about that. Developmentally, when they come to the piano, they bring their own needs, their own tool set, their own space where they are at that point in their life, and they should get to be that. So for that reason, I feel that it's important to craft a lesson plan or piano experience that works best for them. So that's the end of the KiddyKeys Plus, and with KiddyKeys and Roadtrip Outdoor Adventure. The next thing I want to show you is a great visual tool, and it's not mentioned in KiddyKeys Plus, but it's a really terrific option playlist that I made, and I'm going to show you that next. So I'm on the KiddyKeys YouTube channel, and we made these visual videos for each of the road trip outdoor adventure pieces, so that you would be able to use them with your students either in the studio, which is a great way, you'll see that when we look at the video, to explore the song, find it on the piano, they can hear it, or for them to practice at home so that they see their part on the keyboard. They could even play along with it and be playing the duet at home for at-home practice, or if you're doing online lessons. So the piece I want to show you is Go, 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 which is the song that we looked at in the Road Trip Outdoor Adventure student book, the teacher guide, and also the KiddyKeys Plus plan. So let's watch Go, Go, Go. The blue notes, or the dots, are the teacher's duet. Here comes the student part in green. Smaller dots, shorter time. Now to E. And that's Go, Go, Go. The visual video for it, this is on YouTube. It's there for your use. Just going to show you another song. Let's see what's going to come up next. A is for Ant from, again, Road Trip Outdoor Adventure. Let's see what this looks like. Blue is the teacher duet. A, the green is the student part. Longer lines, longer duration. This has a crossover. Left hand crosses over to A. Midline cross is a great skill for young students. This makes it very easy for them to see how their part fits together. They can listen and learn. So that's what these visual videos look like. This continues for each of the songs, and we will pause it there so we're not listening to more of them. They're all there for you to check out on the YouTube channel. It's the KiddyKeys YouTube channel that houses them, and those are the visual videos that you can use for your in-studio lessons as well as for your online lessons. I hope you find those valuable. So, how do you find or sign up for your free KiddyKeys Plus lesson plans? Here's the KiddyKeys website. You're first going to want to go to kiddykeys.com and have the site come up. And if you move your mouse over to the right part of the screen, I'm going to click on the little head, and what's going to open up is Register. If you click on Register, you're going to see how you can create an account right here on the screen. And once you have your account created, you'll be logged in and you'll be able to see your kitchen. Now, I'm not currently logged in, and I'll show you that in another screen, but this is where you would set up your KiddyKeys account to get your free KiddyKeys Plus lesson plans. Thanks for taking the time to watch these videos that I've compiled into something that you feel helps you to get off the ground or supplements what you've already been doing, gives you the opportunity to kick off your programming for young learners in your studio. Again, the KiddyKeys Plus plans are free in the KiddyKeys kitchen. You'll just want to go to kiddykeys.com, and that's KiddyKeys.com, and register for your free account. You'll have the plans in your kitchen. There's other resources in there for you. There's a search engine optimization, a beautiful layout for piano teachers that's also free. There's staff paper that works really well for young students. And certainly I'd encourage you to look at the KiddyKeys lesson plans and materials along with Roadtrip, so that you again can craft, play to your strengths as a teacher and craft a lesson experience that's really tailored to each of your young students. That student book just has their music, their song, and their no teaching materials. That's all yours and fully developed for you to use between the KiddyKeys lesson plans and Road Trip Outdoor Adventure. So thanks for taking the time to watch, and happy teaching.